Hello, everybody, and welcome to POAP Community Call number 42. Today is October the 26th, 2022, and we're glad to have you all here today to listen to what's going on in the POAP community. We have a great call tonight. My name is Insert Panel Intros. Oh, no, wait, it's JENetics. Hi, guys. It's JENetics here from POAPathon. We also have up on stage Mr. Mojo, who is your regular MC. His voice is under the weather, so he's supposed to just be going, the rest of the week.
Yes,
All right. And then we also have, I'm just one at a time up here on stage. We also have Fiore from POAP.
Hello, guys. Great to be here tonight.
Absolutely. We also have iDecentralized, or Anthony.
What's up? What's up?
And another show regular host is Logic Beach from, I'm supposed to say Grid Plus owns your soul. That's what I was instructed.
Logic Beach from Redacted. Good to see you guys.
And finally, we have our special guest, NFTeague, up on stage from rev.gg. Uh-oh. Can anybody hear him?
I cannot right now. Maybe he's switched his mic.
Sorry, I'm working on setting up my mic, but happy to be here.
Are you anonymous today, or can we say your first name?
Go for it.
All right, sweet. Thanks, Austin.
All right. All right, and a little later, we will have Nixorokish joining us as well. So this week, we will be using Rev to distribute the POAP. If you have not already set up your Rev account, rev.gg, please do that. The website is literally rev.gg. Oh my goodness, my kid is turning up his iPad.
It's all right. It adds a little more flavor to the show.
Yeah, it was a cartoon Harley Quinn screaming in the background. All right, guys. So the main topic that we're going to cover tonight is Rev and how POAP is able to integrate. So I got a little bit of experience with this with the POAPathon, Spookathon, which we can talk about later. But one of the things that Rev does really cool is it links your Discord account and your YouTube account to the Rev profile that you create, and so that it does track whether you're in the call as a way to give out POAPs. We're going to go over a lot of other features that Rev does in just a minute, unless there's anything else we need to talk about.
Well, I will say we don't do Discord yet. It's
Okay.
Twitch and YouTube. Yeah.
Awesome. Sounds like I need to get you the degen files that are floating around.
We've talked about doing Discord and doing a unique integration, but Guild's doing awesome, so no point in trying to fix something that's not broken.
Absolutely. All right. So one of the major news things that is happening right now is Little Nouns Raffle. So if you guys notice in the announcements, there should be an announcement. Yep, the most recent announcement. If you have some POAPs from the community calls, you will qualify to enter this raffle for a little noun. We used the treasury that we have accumulated from those guild paid POAPs to buy this little noun for the community, and we will be giving it away. You definitely want to head over to that Discord post to see the full list of instructions. And I also want to say that we will be doing the raffle through Rev, which is really, really cool. One of the built-in parts of Rev is that raffle feature, and I also use that for Spookathon.
Heck yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'm just super excited that the loyal community call attendees who have been willing to test out Guild and test out the monetization feature and pay, a dollar for these precious digital collectibles. We want to start giving back. And so it seems like Rev is a really logical partner to not only test out distribution, but test out raffles. I guess raffles are one of the first kind of use cases that POAP has had for a while, but Rev platform has a couple different features associated with their raffle. So the one we're using here in particular is like email, not email claim, but like the winners put in their email address, which is cool. They can. Austin, actually, tell me about that. What are the different choices we had when selecting the winner? That the information they could have put in.
Yeah, so one thing, and this kind of touches on Rev's bigger vision, which was we initially set out to create a platform that allowed streamers, creators on Twitch and YouTube to issue POAPs. And so when you're creating a raffle on Rev, we give you the option to select the basically method in which you're going to contact the winner. So you could do email address, or you could do Twitch, you could do Twitter, Discord, so it adds a little bit more flexibility for those who may not want to provide their email address and may just want to do stuff on, the native platform that they're either streaming on or chatting on.
Awesome. Yeah, I like the flexibility a lot. And then, I can imagine depending if someone's a streamer on YouTube or Twitch, their audience might be on different channels. So I like the optionality there. We picked email in particular just because, it's a stable communication channel and it's a way we can kind of verify humanness or verify that the winner is a human. So yeah, super exciting. We're definitely going to want to keep testing out these fun tools, and I would love to hear anyone else's thoughts on the matter.
Yeah, so after POAPathon, Spookathon, I set up a couple of different raffles, and it was super easy. When you're setting it up, you select the POAP that qualifies the person to enter the raffle, and again, you select the method of contact. I did Discord since the majority of our users are Discord members within POAPathon. And then you select the time frame you want to run it for, and then you just kind of let it go, and it's as easy as that. It's super nice.
One thing I'll interject, that we initially launched raffles to be only email, and then we switched to provide more flexibility. But what's cool, Anthony, is whenever the raffle ends, because you selected email, we automatically send an email to you and to the winner at the same time. Whereas I think with POAP.fun, the winner had to contact the issuer. And so this just provides, like, the overarching theme of Rev is a positive user experience and trying to automate as much as possible. And so this is one of those features in which we help make the process much easier, especially if you're creating content, managing a community. Like, you have so many other things to do versus trying to remember when the raffle ends, contacting the winner. Like, we just make that process so much more streamlined.
Totally. Yeah. That was the big thing that I like, just opening up that communication, like a two-way communication. And I actually don't have experience doing POAP Fun style raffles, but I could imagine that if a prize was worth a lot of money, some people would even like try to lie and say they were the winner. And then, how do you verify it? Do you make them sign something, etc.? Sign up the public-private key. I don't even know what that is. I'm sure people have different methods, but this just like totally avoids all that hassle and is much better UX. So love it.
Absolutely. So one of the things that we want to talk about with the news is POAPathon Spookathon. During the show, we gave out a total of 11 POAPs. And all but one of those were through Rev. We really stress tested both, I think, Austin and Rev for that whole 3-hour show. And it was really good. The initial experience for the users was a little bit of confusion over getting the Rev set up, but then by I think like the third POAP, everybody was like a pro. they were ready to claim that POAP, and it was really fun to give out that many POAPs during the community call, or during the Spookathon. This is the community call.
Yeah, I mean, it was great. It
Oh,
was
yeah, go ahead.
stressful. But I will say that we were, like, anyone that was part of that, there were definitely some learning curves on our end, especially with like VPNs and stuff. So, you know, I'll be the first one to admit we don't always get it right. So I appreciate people giving us a little bit of patience as we figure things out at times. But I think overall it was I loved the event and it was great.
I like to refer to the experience that people have, like with these like new products and stuff and new projects, is this is what it's like to live on the cutting edge and to be testing out new things. It's part of the fun, I think.
Absolutely. And speaking about Logic Beach, you actually were an artist that was showcased on the show too.
Yeah, it was an honor. I had a lot of fun with you guys up there, and I got to wear my robot head again. I think it mostly just sits in my office.
I know. I
appreciate you
I
sort of
harassed
forcing
you
me to
into
wear
it.
it. Yeah, it was good. It was for the best.
Your robot head is like a brilliant thing because Patricio has his red jacket and like people know him for it, but
Okay.
nobody else has like a really noticeable thing.
So that's good encouragement, just because, you know, when I was at East Denver, I felt like a doofus. I was walking around in a robot head that nobody recognized, but if I just keep it on, that's the key.
People will eventually recognize it.
Hey, it's that guy with the can on his head. That's what I kept hearing. Yeah, version 2 will be ready by next ETH Denver. I want to have, yeah, you'll see. Enough of that.
Absolutely. If anyone else got to watch the show and wants to give their feedback on what it was like doing all of those POAPs, go ahead.
I didn't hear the question.
Yeah, I didn't quite.
Oh, if you attended the POAP-a-thon, Spookathon, how claiming those POAPs was.
I'd say it was pretty seamless, and I have so many new POAPs in my wallet after that. It was a little quiet in there before Spookathon. It was seamless, though. Like, I had no issues whatsoever. That you'd give us the secret password, I go type it in, it just worked.
As long as I spelled it correctly.
The perks of being a human, right?
I will say, and I think this leads into our spotlight really for the night, is that I logged on to watch the show, and as soon as you said connect your YouTube account to the site and connect your wallet to the account or to the site, my first thought was, well, I'm not getting any of these POAPs because there is no way that I'm creating a Google account with my Web3 wallet.
Gloves off. Let's go.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it because, yeah, I think it'll give me a chance to really explain some of the inner workings of Rev, and one of those, which we kind of talked about yesterday a little bit, and I actually deployed a feature today that allows you, once you mint a POAP on Rev, to wipe the database of that claim. So the transaction, your address, literally everything is wiped. So there's no trace.
Is there a way to verify that has happened?
Yeah, I mean, I would have to like show you the database specifically, but if you actually refresh the page, you won't see a transaction hash. You won't see any data on the page. Whereas after you mint it, you will see a transaction hash.
So you're not selling our personal identifiable information for revenue?
No, not. I am not.
It almost sounded like you were going to say not yet, but I'm going to shut up.
Yeah, I was about to, but then I realized that probably was not a good joke.
Would you like us to sell your data? You'll receive a POAP.
Yeah.
The thing I have to say about this is that Web3 puts a huge emphasis on trustlessness for a reason. And so while I do trust you as a human, like you seem very genuine, the kind of the thing that you're talking about right now sounds sort of like a front end thing. And so we can't actually verify what's happening.
Mm-hmm. I think you cut out at the end.
Yeah, we
Rev
lost
is
you there.
Rev is closed source, correct?
Yeah, and we can talk about this later. I don't want to derail the conversation, but there's a few reasons why we haven't open sourced our code. The biggest one is security. So it's just me building and managing Rev. And so, with having open source code, you're basically giving anyone that wants to be a malicious actor a blueprint of your entire site, how it works, how it operates. And so just being a self-taught dev as well, it hedges the risks with people using the platform and me building it, that I don't have to worry about that.
I definitely have no problems with projects being closed source, especially in the beginning. Like getting something bootstrapped is the hardest part, and then once you have some sort of market share for the niche that you're filling, it makes total sense to like have it closed source up to then, especially if you're just one person working on a project. And it's just up until that point, I would not give you any potentially vulnerable data based on the idea that you say, hey, I promise.
Yeah, and I totally get that. And kind of one thing, again, this is all just lip service till I could prove it, and I'm happy for someone outside of me, like even someone at GitPOAP can come in, I can add them to the repository, they can look at the code, we can walk through it, talk about it. And so it's this third party that's verifying the claims that we make, like, hey, they actually do delete all your data, and hey, they don't store, this sensitive information. Like, one thing is that you can actually create an account by just linking your YouTube. You don't ever have to store your wallet or connect your wallet to Rev in any way. And part of that, like Anthony and I chatted a month, 2 months ago when I first launched Raffles. And with Raffles, it was actually gated behind a login. And so then just talking with him and understanding some of the pushback more or less with Web3, that they don't want to do that, or it shouldn't be a requirement for them to link their profile, specifically their wallet address, to enter a raffle. So reworked it, spent a good amount of time making it to where you don't, to enter a raffle tonight, like you didn't have to create a Rev account. It's very similar to POAP.fun, where you just you just basically connect your wallet temporarily. We verify that you own the NFTs that are eligible for the raffle, and that's it. At no point do we make you create an account. And the only times we store your wallet address, which we delete after the raffle is done, is a lot of like why we store your wallet address is so that you can't fake entry into the raffle more than you're supposed to. And we also store the NFT that was used to enter the raffle, and this is preventing people from transferring an NFT from one wallet to another and entering. And so a lot of the data that we store just temporarily is around like there's a need for it, a use case for it, and that's to provide a very authentic, as close to 100% real result and end result.
Hey, speaking of, do you think you could explain the difference between like POAP.fun and the Rev raffles and something like Snapshot? Like, I want to know, like, do they fill different use cases, or are they direct competitors, or what?
Yeah, I mean, to me, I took inspiration from POAP.fun, but the lens in which I looked at that, as well as polls, as we integrate that in the future, is providing a better user experience. And one of those elements is that when you create a raffle on POAP.fun, you have to actually expose your email address. So if you go look at an end raffle, you will be able to, I think there's a button or text that says, are you the winner? Then you click that, and actually the email address shows up of who you're supposed to contact, which I think you would empathize as a security vulnerability and kind of just not great for privacy. So we put that behind behind Rev and don't expose that sort of information. Also, what I realized when I was creating a raffle is that there's every single POAP that's been created that you can select from, which is kind of 2 points. One is that if I'm someone new to Web3, remembering my POAP names and remembering which ones I've launched and stuff can be difficult. So on Rev, we only show you the POAPs that you have created. Another element of that is that, and this is something where I've actually talked to Fiore about last week, is would someone be able to launch a raffle like using another person's POAPs? So in theory, on POAP.fun, I could say, hey, we are Ledger. We are giving away 10 free ledgers. Connect your wallet, verify that you own our Ledger POAP, and then contact us. But I'm not associated in any way with Ledger, but I can spoof that I am. And so with Rev, I guess the second point would be the authenticity of the person who is running the raffle is able to either one, act on that counterparty's behalf, or it is my POAPs that I'm using. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, for sure. No, long-winded is good. We like thorough explanations. I definitely am curious, like about how the raffles work. And actually, Mojo asked how the raffles work. One comment I wanted to say is, I like that you took inspiration from POAP.fun, especially because I feel like a lot of tools in this space, people start building them and then like development on them drastically slows down, and so they become these like rudimentary tools that really need building on top of. And so like, having many iterations, especially if they're like similar iterations, I think is a really good thing in this space, because every iteration is a little bit better. And there are so many things. Like GitPlop did a raffle recently where we looked at Snapshot and we looked at POAP.fun. We didn't know about Rev at the time. And neither of those services like really fit the use case that we were looking for. And so it's good to have more competitors, especially who who fill the same niche and have the same core features. But yeah, Mojo wanted to know how are the winners chosen in the raffle?
Yeah, I mean, on the technical level, we I mean, there's a function that's run that basically shuffle. I mean, we try to go through this very long process, like as much as possible, where we shuffle the raffle entries, we then assign them a random number, then we sort them, then we assign another random number, and we sort them, and then whoever has the then we pick a certain index within that array, and that person gets slotted for the first prize. And if there's multiple prizes, then we pick another number within that array. So it's like as like weird and random that as I could think of that made it fair. And there's like a video I watched. This is kind of tangential, but like computers can never be 100% random just by way of being computers. And so that's where like I tried to throw in as much like times to shuffle as possible. It's kind of like a deck of cards. You want to shuffle as many times as possible because then it creates a more random number versus shuffling it once.
Yeah, and this most likely makes it random enough. Nobody's going to be able to game that. It's just too random. Even if it's not 100% perfect random, it's still good enough. I like it. I think that's pretty clever. I know that POAP.fun used some metric or the metric of like gas used and like removed POAPs with the same ending number as the last number of gas used, and I always thought that was pretty interesting. And then it got totally broke when blocks were and gas used was a lot more consistent. It's pretty interesting to see that happen.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask if anyone knew how POAP fund was done, and I knew it was like weird and wonky and had to do with gas, but I'm glad you were able to explain it quite particularly.
Yeah, me and Superfizz talked about that quite a lot, actually. We did a bunch of raffles with Rocket Pool in the early days, and then some upgrade on Ethereum. I can't remember which. Maybe it was EIP 1559. Once that upgrade happened, gas used was super consistent, so raffles were taking forever. It was pretty wild. So, NFTeague's method of sort of assigning random numbers, shuffling, and assigning random numbers again, and choosing an index, that's probably more future-proof when it comes to like a raffle that would depend on randomness in blocks or something like that. And I was thinking about the lava lamps that Beam Me Up now just posted. There's like a bunch of lava lamps on a shelf, and there's a camera, and it uses the entropy of just like heat and moving wax to generate random seeds for the code. It's pretty cool. Thanks for sharing that. That was like uncanny. It was just on my mind.
Austin, I also have a question. I don't remember if we discussed this in our call, but I wanted to ask if the amount of POAP increases the chances of winning. In POAP Fun, the raffle creator can decide if the participants have a single chance with the whole collection, or if each token means one chance. But I don't remember if it's the same on Rep.
Yep, I transposed that feature. I liked it a lot, and I'm adding more features. Like another one that we're gonna add to raffles is called All or Nothing, which, as it sounds like, you must own all the eligible POAPs. So you could select 3 POAPs, and someone must own all 3 of them to be able to enter. So it's just a little, I think it's pretty fun to provide a lot of flexibility to people who maybe doing this live on stream, like, hey, I'm gonna change it up to where you have to own at least 50% of the POAPs. Like, doing stuff like that is fun versus it being the same rinse and repeat type of integration. And we love feedback. If there's like, hey, I think you should do it to where you must own, X, Y, or Z, or meet some sort of other requirement. Like, I love hearing those, because like Rev at its core is, like, we call them creator-led integrations. And on one side, they are integrations that allow the creator to engage with their community when, where, and how they want, which is basically like Web3 in a nutshell. But then also creator-led, meaning we build the features that creators want to be able to engage with their community. Like, I'm having a conversation with someone on Friday who has minted a membership NFT on the Matic network, and he wants to provide the raffle functionality to his community. And so, like, that's something that we're exploring with him.
I did have one point of clarification, and Theo had a good question there. So in the current form for this particular Little Noun raffle, is per applicant, regardless of how many POAPs they have, a single chance, or is each individual POAP you have, does that increase your chances?
The latter. So if you own 10 POAPs, all 10, then you get 10 entries. And you can actually see this on the raffle page. So if you scroll down to the bottom, you'll see the number of entries that you have. And then we do like a very shortened string of whatever you typed in for privacy reasons. And so, so you can verify that, hey, NFTeague has entered 2 entries. So then I can verify that I did successfully enter the raffle and with 2 entries, which is what I had 2 NFTs.
Cool. Yeah, I like that, and I'm glad that's the current version, and that's sort of what I expected. So awesome to see it.
So we had a couple of questions from the POAPathon community. Some of our members noticed that their POAPs were sent to a temporary Gnosis safe wallet, and they had some questions about that.
Yes, I actually love that you're bringing this up. One, because I can explain what that process looks like, I got a few emails from people saying, I somehow got this random wallet that's not mine, and now the POAPs are in there. How do I get them out? How do I get access to this? And so, to answer the people who do have a Rev managed wallet is what they're calling it, what I'm calling it, but what it is behind the scenes, it technically is a Gnosis multi-sig safe. And so I'm building out the functionality. I was hoping to have it out before this call, but to allow you to, one, create, which I'll explain like why I think that's so important for Rev and for the Web3 community, but we'll also provide the functionality to transfer those assets free to a self-custodian wallet. Again, I was hoping to have it out before the call today, but it just didn't happen. But yeah, so I think if you want me to explain why I think it's so cool, I can. Otherwise, we can move on.
I would love to hear, especially since it was an interesting experience for some of the POAP people to be, or the attenders of the call. They were like, wait, did my POAP just go to some random person? And why it's important that you do have that wallet set up for these reasons.
Yeah, someone thought their POAP got stolen and they were upset about that, which, you know, first of all, sorry that you felt that way. Second of all, I kind of laughed, and just shows like the nature of POAPs and people loving them, which is why I started building Rev in the first place. But I wanted to have some sort of non-custodian wallet functionality within Rev, because a big part of what I was focused on with Rev is it being a bridge for Web 2 people in the gaming esports space. Again, our primary focus is on launching POAPs via Twitch and YouTube Live. So most of the people out there, like, we're in a very select and small group of people who own and understand what Web3 wallets are. But there's a large population out there that doesn't, or specifically in the gamer side of things, are skeptical about NFTs in general, crypto in general. I mean, understandably, they've been burned a number of times through influencers launching very ridiculous NFT projects, abandoning them the next week. And so eventually, you know, people are just like, forget this, I'm never touching it again. And so having non-custodian wallets on Rev allows people who are Web 2 maxis that same experience, to where they don't have to own a wallet, they don't have to manage the secret keys and phrase or any of that stuff, or install apps that are extensions, because we manage all that on their behalf. But we still give them a taste of what Web3 is like by, I had some people enter a raffle today through their non-custodian wallet. And so they start to understand Web3, and then they can also go look at their wallet and see like, hey, I own these collectibles, and whenever I'm ready, I can take ownership of those. And that's super cool. And I think just that user experience mixed with the fact that POAPs are free to mint is like a game changer. And which is why I'm so excited about building Rev, is because people are no longer, that the stigma of NFTs are scams is no longer relevant, because these NFTs are free to mint, and you don't have to own a wallet necessarily to take ownership of this POAP and collect it. And then this is kind of going into more of the vision of Rev and what I'm most excited about, which is building utility for these holders and really giving content creators the power to own the relationship with their fans, which doesn't exist in Web3, and provide them the tools to choose when, where, and how they want. If I want to create a private Discord channel, I can do that and gate that with POAPs. If I want to do a raffle, if I want to do an in-person meet and greet, I can set up token proof and verify that people own a wallet that or own certain NFTs and get access to it. And so by providing these non-custodian wallets and using POAPs, it's a great onboarding tool that focuses less on the scammy side of things and more on the power of what Web3 is and what we all love about it. Again, cut me off if I'm too long-winded. I'm very excited about this space and what we're building. So sometimes I feel like I can get on my pedestal or my
No, I love it. And especially like, there's so much bad narrative out there from people who are not in the Web3 space that NFTs are a scam or they're bad for the environment or whatever. And now we just saw Reddit launch their NFTs, and they're positioning them as like digital collectibles, which like POAPs are, the really dominant digital collectible that everyone loves that's free. And a lot of these Redditors who previously hated NFTs are like all loving the new NFTs on Reddit. And so, it goes to show that there really is appetite. And a lot of people are not ready to mint their own private keys and secure them. And so having an option to hold those on their behalf for a while until they're ready to graduate makes a ton of sense. And then once they graduate, as you mentioned, like starting to provide utility for these, I think that really is like the vision of POAP. Phase 1 is dropping POAPs, but then phase 2 is really engaging with your community. And that's why I'm excited to use Rev. And as you guys roll out new, ways to connect with POAP holders, we'll probably play with those things as well. So yeah, build it, and the POAP community will come, I think.
I think Sassel said it best on that one. So many people were stoked about those NFTs who had previously, like, if you go on our technology, people hate NFTs, but as soon as you give Redditors NFTs, they were stoked on them. And part of the reason was they just feel like they missed out. They missed an NFT. They've got skin in the game all of a sudden, and they're stoked on them.
Yeah, I mean, that's like, this goes to the origin story of Rev. I was listening to Sushi Swap AMAs, and my fourth one in, I was about to miss it and miss out on a very limited edition NFT that I actually selected as one of my top 3 NFTs in my wallet. But I just remember this psychological pull of like, I must join this call for this POAP. And I just thought it was like that aha moment. And so I feel like what you're saying with the Reddit avatars is exactly it. They're getting a taste of it and they're like, actually, these are pretty cool.
Absolutely. I think breaking the stereotype between what the media is saying an NFT is and what they really can be is the narrative that we need pushed a little bit more. And I'm hoping that POAPs can be that for a lot of people. So one of the things you did say was that if there is a non-custodial wallet with the POAP in it, that if it's attached to their Rev account, maybe they are still able to enter the raffle.
Yeah, exactly. So we automatically know that a Gnosis safe is associated with that user account, and so they don't have to, do the traditional like sign a message through MetaMask or some other wallet, because we know that we've already verified that they own it.
Great. So that answers a lot of people's questions that were fearful that they would miss out on the giveaways that we were doing with the Spookathon that accidentally had the POAPs minted to the non-custodial wallets. So that's great. So something else I wanted to talk about was the integration that Rev has with YouTube, and how it allows for the streamer to easily distribute POAPs, both request links and distribute them to their audience. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Sure, yeah. So this is kind of a little longer story. I'll try to keep it as short as possible. But back last year, I actually pitched the idea of Rev to Patricio saying, hey, would love to bring POAPs to the gaming community, specifically live streamers. And so he was like, sounds great. And so I joined the ETH Global Hackathon and built a very crude MVP of, at the time it was POAP.gg. We recently rebranded. But it was, as I started exploring how the Twitch integration would work, I was initially going for the same user experience as DGenBot, where you have to be live on stream for a certain amount of time. Unfortunately, Twitch's API didn't provide that sort of experience or optionality. And so I started thinking, what would it look like? How can I make it different? Can I set a timer to where someone must basically clock in and say start and then stop, and kind of that's how we measure how long they're there on a stream? That felt kind of clunky. And so what I ended up landing on is the streamer sets a certain time period. So they could set 1 minute, they could do up to 10 minutes, in which people watching their stream have to type a specific claim command in. So it could be !claim. It could be something unique to the stream. Like we had someone create a pasta POAP recently, and so their claim command was Mamma Mia and pasta. And so you can get fun with it. But anyways, you have to type that claim command in to chat during a certain time window. And then we have a single link that you click on. And the reason why is, again, Twitch's API has like limits on the amount of private DMs you can send out. And so if Rev was ever going to be a widely used platform, we were going to hit those limits within, minutes, hours of a day, and probably be banned. So we ended up switching to a single link that people click on, and people will click on that. They will actually verify and connect their Twitch or YouTube account. And the reason they do that is we know who is signing into Rev, and then we try to see if they typed the claim command into chat during that specific window. If they did, then they're shown the input to enter their wallet address, ENS, or create a non-custodian wallet. And so I'll also add in that while it wasn't ideal at the beginning, I actually think it's my preferred method at the end of the day. And the reason being is to throw farmers under the bus, me, myself included. One time in the past, well, I'll admit that I did not mint the POAP for it, is I joined a Discord call, put the volume on mute, and then 30 minutes, an hour later, or whatever, I came back and minted the POAP. Now, at no point during that call was I actively engaged with the conversation to be had. And so I wasn't adding value to the call or the community. And so by requiring people to type a specific claim command into chat during a very short window ensures that they are paying attention to the stream and actively engaged with the creator. And so to me, that shows that like these people who are claiming the NFT are ones that are adding value to the streamer, adding value to the community. And so that's the process, and that's why we have the certain, I guess, workflow that we do. We also, I will also add that as people claimed last week's POAP, claim this week's POAP, is that we have a one-time human verification step. And I know this was one of the questions I was going to be asked, is why SMS? Going back to the vision of Rev and being a Web3 onboarding tool for people who are hesitant or have no experience with managing a wallet, SMS is the best option for those people and most widely accessible. We do also have an integration with Gitcoin Passport, which I realized there was a bug with it. We were working through it this last week. Hopefully it's resolved. Let me know you can email mod@rev.gg if you have any issues with it. But we do provide that Web3 optionality as well for people who don't want to connect their phone number to Rev. But I will assure people that we have the same security that like Discord would have, for where you input your phone number, we secure it, hash it, like do all the things that are necessary to where people wouldn't, if it ever got leaked, like it would just be unreadable unless they had the secret phrase, and then they wouldn't be able to attach it to your user account. So it's a very isolated database table in very technical terms, and it's encrypted in a way where it's very useless.
Absolutely. And I think the seamlessness that we used for the YouTube call was really, really great. And I loved that it took care of certain things that we wouldn't have to micromanage from a streamer's point of view, right? So once you hit launch NFT, it posts everything in the chat, and it pretty much takes it all out of your hands, which is really great. I enjoyed using it, and I know that at POAPathon we will continue to use it as the future continues.
Awesome. I'm glad that we'll hopefully next time launch it on YouTube so people get that experience and see that it is much more seamless than Rev wasn't necessarily built for the secret password functionality. It's very new, so we're still building that out. But I love the YouTube and the Twitch integrations because that is our bread and butter.
I know I'd been asking for it since I got on this call, was Twitch and YouTube integration, so I am one happy camper. My dreams are coming true. So before we reach the hour mark, I did want to showcase some of the POAPs. We generally ask our guests to bring with them their 3 favorite POAPs. And so I'm going to drop the first one in the chat. And Austin, this is a Sushi Swap Onsen AMA POAP.
Yeah, so this was the POAP that I was talking about earlier, where there was this deep psychological draw, FOMO, to be at this AMA, this NEAR protocol, which I didn't realize at the time would be, a worthy call to listen to. So it was fascinating to be there and see NEAR build over the last few months and years. But that's when I started thinking, hey, these POAPs are pretty interesting from a psychological community engagement perspective. So that was my
absolutely first one. Yeah. And then the next one that we have is the Sandstorm meetup with Mona.
Yeah. So Sandstorm has been our first user of Rev, and this was the first POAP that they launched through Rev. It was a very terrifying experience, and it was not seamless, but we saw the seeds of what it could be. And so I just wanted to, give them a shout out for being a longtime supporter of what we're building at Rev, but also it was a pretty big milestone with someone outside of myself using POAP with their community.
And that's like the Sandstorm, like the song? Or is this something else that I don't know the reference to?
So Sandstorm is I should probably have given this context. So Sandstorm is a Twitch channel that does interviews in the sandbox. At the time they were doing it Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I think their schedule kind of changed a little bit to where it's Tuesday, Thursday now, or Tuesday, Wednesday. But yeah, so they are a Twitch channel that does interviews with different NFT projects.
I don't know. I'm working. My little one. All right. So the third one is the Bryson Blanco's Cup.
Yeah. Yeah. So it was either a toss up between this one or one that he launched more recently. But Bryson is the embodiment of what we want on Rev. He is I should post the tweet, I should find it, but he is a streamer that does Web3 games. He also does Web2 games on Twitch, and he launches these every week. I think this is his third week to launch them. And with those, he does raffles. I think today he gave away maybe $150 through 5 different raffles. So go check him out. But he really is all in on Rev and what we're trying to build with. And he uses Rev to engage with his community, incentivize them, and create this relationship, which is very different than what exists out there today. So what exists out there today is streamers are live on camera, people interact on chat, but they don't get this really personal connection with their streamers. And what Bryson is doing with the POAPs is creating a gated community of his most consistent followers. And those people own these POAPs and get access to raffles, get access to a private community on Twitter, and can do really interesting things that provide again, this win-win for both the streamer because people are coming back more often to collect these POAPs. I think he gave away 50 already today. And so it's a win for the streamers, but it's also a win for his community because they get this unparalleled access to Bryson by being these consistent community members.
That's really great. And with your future integration of multiple POAPs required for a giveaway, I mean, that just continues to build that community longevity as well, and people continuing to return back for those POAPs as well.
Yeah, exactly. And that's like the quick sales pitch that I give people is that POAPs are great for getting people to show up today. The utility side is the hook that gets people coming back tomorrow, the next day, and the next day.
Amazing. So we only have a few minutes left, but we did have one announcement from Nixorokish about Get POAP I wanted to touch on before we have to go.
So Get POAP is having a community call next Wednesday, and it is with Alex Stokes. Alex Stokes is a researcher at the Ethereum Foundation. He's currently specializing in MEV. And I know that MEV has been a huge topic the last few months, especially since the merge. If you don't know what MEV is, this is a good time to drop your questions in the Get POAP Discord. He's extremely good at explaining what MEV is, explaining what the repercussions of MEV is, and the context of the problems that things like MEV boost and black box and all of that stuff creates. So if you guys have any questions, you want to understand MEV better, you want to understand the context of what people are doing, please drop your questions in the Get POAP Discord. I am really excited for this community call, so you guys should come. It's Wednesday at 11 a.m. Eastern time. And it's on the POAP YouTube channel.
Okay. Perfect. And then the other announcement that we wanted to put out there, Logic Beach, you've got that one about Grid Plus POAP and ENS DAO.
Yeah, and actually I wanted to share this fun little thing I made in the chat. I've been getting into 3D art. But anyways, Grid Plus now has it where you can earn the very first of its kind hardware verified POAP. So this is the only hardware wallet that lets you sign a message using the firmware, and doing that earns you a POAP. So you do two things. You verify that the firmware on the device is 100% genuine and legit, and you get a POAP for it. And just some alpha for you guys is I'll be setting up a Guild XYZ POAP gated channel in the Discord where people can just like share alpha, and we're going to do raffles and different community events and stuff like that. And the other thing I wanted to talk about is just a quick reminder that on November 8th there is a fun POAP.art paint party for the 1-year anniversary of the ENS DAO. And there's a little card that you can share around in your communities. I don't know. I have like some loose ideas that I want to somehow reward the people and communities that place the most pixels on this canvas. Let's make it good. That's
All right. Awesome. Yes. And then one of the last things that we're going to do is I guess the main outro of our show is usually POAP's YouTube channel. If y'all have not subscribed to the POAP YouTube channel, what are you even doing? Please go subscribe to the POAP YouTube channel. Okay? All right. And and somebody will drop the link to that channel as well to go and make sure you're subscribed. And then the last thing we're going to do is give out the POAP through Rev. NFTeague or Austin, do you want to give us a short explainer on how we're going to do that?
Yeah, so it's very similar to last week where Mojo just posted the link within chat, and you click on that, and I'm not sure what the password is. Maybe he can give us a hint.
Secret word. Oh, go for it, Jen.
Oh yeah, the secret word is community with no uppercase. Perfect. So again, that's community, COMMUNITY, no uppercase letters.
So yeah, so people have 14 minutes left to go there. You type in that secret word that you just said, then you will be prompted to, if you haven't done this before, verify that you're a human. This is a step we put in place recently because our focus is really on creating an authentic community for creators. And so part of that is verifying that bots, farmers are not minting POAPs, because it does honestly take away a little bit of the luster and a little bit of the fun of being in this gated community if you know that it's tainted to a degree. Go on.
Sorry, Austin, I don't mean to interrupt you, but I really I think that you don't even need to explain the importance of words.
All right. So yeah, so verify.
Only because POAP is so inundated with bots that we totally understand.
Yeah. Okay.
Everybody here totally understands.
I think it's just other people that aren't familiar with POAPs. Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah. I gotta say, I just claimed my POAP, and of all of the methods that we have experimented with and pioneered, this was definitely one of the easiest.
Awesome. Well, that's great to hear. Yeah, and so then you'll be prompted to enter your wallet address, ENS address, or create, again, a self-custodian wallet, or a non-custodian wallet, rather. One thing that people were curious about, and we're trying to, I think a few people are trying to game the system, is that once you enter the password, you can verify your humanity, you can mint it tomorrow, the next day, anytime before it expires. So if you don't have your phone, if you're not connected to get POAP Passport, you have time to do that. You don't have to verify your humanity to be eligible. Once you type in your password, we reserve a POAP for you to mint. Hopefully that makes sense for everybody.
Absolutely. So yes, I hope that you enjoyed this community call. And you will have 11 minutes for the community to enter that password. Anyway, so those of you who listen to the call on mute, you don't get to hear me say this, but it's going to be really hard to figure out what the password is. Anyway, thank you all so much. Go ahead, Decentralized.
Yeah, I was just going to say, great job. Yeah, you gave them a little extra leak there. So if you did not get it, come back next week. We will definitely have more. There is no shortage of POAPs from the POAP Community Call. So, yeah, thank you so much for the hosts for taking care of this, and Austin for giving the awesome story behind Rev. And this was sweet.
Thanks for letting me
Thank
grill
you
you,
so much,
Austin.
everybody.
Anytime. Yeah, I love hearing people on both sides. Web 2 people that are skeptical of Web 3 and Web 3 people that want to help us improve our platform. So my DMs, my Twitter, Slack is always open.
All right. Thank you, everybody. And go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say goodnight.
And good night.
You guys.
Thanks
Good
all.
night.
Bye.